this thing on.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of The Cut. I'm your host, Christian Williams, and I am here, as always, with Randy Hall. Randy, how are you, man?
Doing pretty good. We just had a frustrating hour and a half with Madden, but here we are.
Yeah. Fix your servers, man.
Gotta love those desyncs in critical situations.
Twice.
But, yeah, it's not great.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, pretty good. Coming off of a pretty injury-ridden week of football, hoping to be a little bit better this week.
Yeah, and one of the freakiest injuries, I know we're going to talk about it later, but the Daniel Bellinger eye injury was gnarly. It was gnarly looking. He had blood from his eye being fractured and probably like ruptured and stuff on his uniform. It was nuts. And you feel for him because he was becoming a really big part of that offense too. So it's a bummer. And I've never seen a dude punch a dude through the little hole in his helmet. Like, I don't know how he got enough force going into his helmet. I mean, I know you can like poke people in the eye, but not punch them.
Yeah, but it's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, we do have a little bit of news this week. So a lot of trades have happened in the last few days. So we have not spoken with you guys since Christian McCaffrey was traded to the 49ers for a massive haul of picks. He obviously played this week and looked like he's when he's fully incorporated to the offense, they're definitely going to utilize him. What are your thoughts on the McCaffrey trade? Do you think that that's a good haul for the Panthers?
Yeah, I think it's a good haul. We talked about it like right when it happened, and it's kind of like you're trying to get a 1 for Christian McCaffrey, and they basically did with 2, 3, 4, and a 5. I mean, that's as close to a 1 or 1+ as you can get. I do know they will be a little bit later picks, but still, it's worth it. It's really worth it for them. Jeff Wilson's been okay, but he hasn't been really electric for this offense. Elijah Mitchell has looked good, but he's just not what CMC is. And I think this kind of unlocks a different dynamic to their offense, and it allows Debo not to be used like he didn't want to be used. So it's going to be a good thing all around. And it'll be exciting to see an actual bell cow back in this offense, and we'll see how it really works.
Yeah, I am still curious. Obviously, McCaffrey's going to get the lion's share, but when Elijah Mitchell comes back, they do like Elijah Mitchell. I still think that they do. It's just he's not available, and they think they're win now. And so I think they're right. I think they are win now, especially with the current landscape of the NFC. I think they've got as good a shot as any. Obviously not coming off the best performance this last week, but you throw that out, I think. But ultimately, yeah, I just think their fascination with running backs is crazy. It's I don't really understand the level of investment they have put into that.
Yeah,
position.
So it's they've used, what is it now, a second, 3/3, a fourth, 2/5, and a seventh on running backs in the last like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
something like 3 or 4, including next year's draft, obviously.
Elijah Mitchell was a 6th, so he counts. But yeah, it's just, and you know what? And they landed the best one in football, or arguably the best one in football. So probably not the best one. Top 5.
Yeah, we'll go there.
Top 5. Another running back trade that happened more recently was James Robinson was sent to the Jets to replace Breece Hall, with Breece Hall going down with an ACL injury and meniscus, I believe, right? Is what it was.
Yeah.
So James Robinson didn't play a whole lot this last week for the Jaguars, and so they kind of phased him out anyway. I have a tweet that went crazy and everyone's making fun of me and stuff. Shout out Twitter. But I said, this is really great for James Robinson. He's going to an offense that knows how to use their running backs in an effective way. We saw where Breece Hall was. I know he was getting big chunk plays, and James Robinson probably won't, but I do like his fit to replace Breece once he's back up to speed and fully healthy.
Yeah, it should work out really well. This is a team that's clearly going to run the ball a ton and kind of speed up the clock, actually, if you really, and slow down the game. So I think he can continue to have a really good day. And like you said, he's not going to necessarily have the breakaway runs that Breece Hall was having, but he's still very capable of getting 5 yards of carry in an offense like this.
Yeah. And for he was a 6th-round pick. So
yeah, I think is it conditional to a 5th if he gets like 700 yards or something like that, which it's very possible.
But you still full send that, I think. He's already shown that he can do that. And like I said, I think he fits what they want in their running back. Him and Breece have a very similar style. That's all I was kind of saying with that tweet is they run very similarly. Obviously, Breece Hall's better for what it's worth. And then the last trade, just really quickly, Robert Quinn today was traded to the Eagles for a 4th-round pick. So the Bears cleared even more cap. I believe they are clearing $14 million from next year. So now they have by far the most cap. I believe they're in the 130s. Unfortunately, the free agent class next year kind of sucks, but they might be able to kind of utilize that in trades as well and go get some guys that might not get extended. I think they'll have a strategy to put people around Fields.
That's the hope.
Yeah, that is certainly the hope. We'll talk about Justin Fields later, of course, but let's get into our Week 8 preview. This week, unfortunately, the Chiefs and Chargers are on bye, so it feels like every week we have just massive fantasy performers going out. That tends to happen when multiple teams have byes, but this week, Patrick Mahomes clearly and Austin Eckler are the big ones. I think Justin Herbert counts kind of, but he's had kind of a rough year thus far, so not so much for fantasy, but on an NFL side of things. At least we're getting one less week of missing Mike Williams, though.
Yes, because he's probably out a couple weeks.
They said a minimum of 4 weeks today. So
he'd been put on the IR today, though. Then,
yeah, I don't think they did that. So maybe it was just an assumption. But yeah, minimum of 4 weeks is the breaking news report I got to my phone, which sucks.
We'll see.
Sucks. Yeah. Okay. First up, Thursday Night Football. The Ravens play the Buccaneers tomorrow. Spread, Ravens are favored by 1.5, and the over-under is 45.5. So both of these teams are in kind of a weird place because neither team's offense is playing well. Lamar definitely carried the Ravens to a win, but overall it was a pretty rough game. Gus Edwards made his return, 16 carries, 66 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And then Rashad Bateman might not play in this game, so we might not see that.
It seemed like he barely got in the field this last week, and it seemed like the Mark Andrews injury is bigger than they let on.
And so he might not play.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is it could be a good day for Isaiah Likely. And
thank you for not doing the joke.
Yeah. And then on the other side, Brady and the Bucs just looked terrible. They lost to the Panthers last week. Brady went 32 of 49 for 290. We've gotten here. Brady's playing okay.
He's playing good.
He's playing well. I will say I don't think his receivers are though. I think a lot of his team are letting him down, honestly.
Yeah, the line's not holding up, and we knew that was going to happen. There's a lot of injuries. They can't run the ball right now. So Brady's he's above his career average in completion percentage, yards per game, attempts per game. He has an 8-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. He's been sacked 10 times, and that's a lot for Brady because you know how often he's just going to get the ball to his hand and avoid the hit. So, I mean, he's doing everything he can. It's not like Father Time, is past the hill and all that, that we're starting to get, the vibes on Twitter and stuff. He's actually playing pretty well. If he's throwing 50 times a game and still, doing well, it's just, I mean, your top two guys, Evans, this week 9 of 15 for 96. Godwin 7 of 13 for 43. It's just not going to cut it. And when you can't run the ball at all, and it's just been really bad of an offense.
Yeah, it certainly has. This is a game where the 45.5 feels low when you look at what these two teams are. I don't know though. The Ravens scored 23 points last week. And the
Bucks 3.
Yeah. So I feel like the under is going to hit. I feel like we've been doing pretty well with hitting our unders. Offenses are still struggling. Where are you going in this game?
I think you have to go to the Ravens at this point, with just how bad the Bucks as a whole team's done the last couple of weeks, and the defense hasn't been phenomenal. There's been a lot of injuries there as well. I know they've already rolled out like Antoine Winfield and a few other people for this game. I believe Carlton Davis. But at a certain point, if Bateman's not going to be able to play and Andrews might not play, I don't really think that's going to matter as much. So I do think this is a really low-scoring game where the Ravens just ink it out because the Bucks just can't get in the end zone. Maybe it's been tough. It's one of those things like 32 of 49 for 290. If you add on 2 touchdowns in that, you're like, oh my, Brady's killing it right now, and it's just weird how it's been.
Yeah, for sure. I do think the Ravens defense kind of came into itself last week a little bit. And so that's where I'll take the Ravens. I'll take the under in this game. And honestly, like, you're not super excited about any of the pass catchers. I feel like even like Evans and Godwin have low upside right now, but you still play them, of course. Where you drafted them, you still play them.
Yeah.
So, okay. Anything else on that game?
Nope.
All right. Sunday morning, we're back to a morning game. The Denver Broncos are playing the Jaguars. Jaguars are 2.5-point favorites in this game, and the over-under is 39. It sounds like Russell Wilson's going to play. He was on the plane he was doing high knees in the aisles of the plane, and I thought it was a joke. Like, I thought that people were making things up at first, and then I saw KJ Hamler quote tweeted it and said he's not joking, and he was clearly annoyed. So shout out KJ Hamler for being like, yeah, stop doing that while we're sleeping, bro.
It's a bit of a dick move. It's a bit of a only caring. It's a selfish move, and I get what he's doing. Obviously with your body really banged up and abnormally tight with these injuries, you want to stay loose. You don't want to be sitting for 8 hours. I get it. Stretch your seat or some shit. Like to be jumping around next to people that are trying to sleep is so rude. It really is just he's just digging himself a deeper hole in like the personal part of this. I do think he's been pretty banged up all year. I think that's attributed a little bit to the play, but even if he plays here, I'm not looking to play Russ at all.
No. Not at all. And there was a rumor that Nathaniel Hackett could be on the chopping block if they lose this game. And I don't see a way in which the Broncos go win this game unless Trevor Lawrence is atrocious. The Broncos are going to be missing Baron Browning. They still have a really good defense for what it's worth. Their defense is carrying them immensely, probably more than any singular unit is carrying another team. But yeah, if Nathaniel Hackett gets fired, it would be the third shortest tenure of a head coach of all time. Bill Belichick's 1 day with the Jets counts in that. So really like second shortest tenure. And I think Broncos fans would be pretty happy. This last week, though, Jerry Jeudy finally got targeted by Rypien, 7 catches, 96 yards. Greg Dulcich is having a fantastic breakout first 2 games he's been in, and he is averaging – he's the tight end 5, I believe, in fantasy points per game. I know that it's just a 2-game sample, and we have to see a little bit more, but the tight end is a main component of this offense. I think this is here to stay, right?
Yeah, I think so too. That's why I put it in here. It seems like they've been waiting for him to play all year. We talked about, I think a little bit more privately, but it seemed like they were just throwing to dinking and dunking to tight ends all year, just different ones every play, it felt like. It looked like they were just trying to get someone to break out, and then since Dolchich has been back. He's been playing like 80% of snaps or so. I think it even increased this last week. So, I mean, if he's going to get up to 90 to 100% of snaps at a certain point here, he's going to be a really big tight end asset, just if he can get to the end zone. But he's a very athletic and a playmaking tight end as well. So I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for that.
Yeah, for sure. Trevor Lawrence still, I don't know. I'm still not fully sold on Trevor Lawrence. He put up some numbers through 43 times last week. Travis Etienne had kind of a breakout game. I think that I would look for another Etienne type of breakout game if the Jaguars plan to win this game. I think they need to rely on him because I think it will be difficult for Trevor Lawrence to move the football in London this week. Or Germany. Is this one in Germany?
Crap.
I
want to
think
say it's London.
Is it London again? I don't know. I know there's like a Germany game, and then there's a Mexico City Monday Night Football game. As long as it doesn't get
Yeah, but
canceled
that's
like
what
that.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
This is Wembley, so yeah, it's still
Okay.
London.
Gotcha. Okay. Over under 39, I think I said. I'm
gonna go under.
I'm also gonna go under.
I think we're gonna get pretty much the exact same game as you just saw from the Broncos and Jets. So
yeah.
What was that? 13-9?
Yep. And you think Jags are winning?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Isn't that crazy? Where we thought the Broncos would be.
I didn't think Russell Wilson would be awful. I didn't think the offense would be awful. So
yeah, I didn't either. Okay, next game on the main slate Sunday afternoon. Patriots 1.5 point favorites against the Jets. The over/under is 40.5. I'm not entirely sure how the Patriots are favored in this game with their play of late. Last week, Breece Hall tore his ACL.
I was going to say, keep reading the bit. And then...
Yeah, I get it. Corey Davis, MCL sprain. Elijah Vera Tucker is on the IR. I believe Laken Tomlinson got beat up as well.
Yeah.
So things are not going well for the Jets, but I will say the Jets are 5-2 and have looked like the better team despite not having any semblance of a quarterback. Zach Wilson has been awful in this stretch of wins. The Jets are winning despite him, but they were really relying on Breece Hall. So maybe I kind of get the line now that I'm thinking about it.
Zach Wilson's been throwing for like 120 yards a game. It's been basically non-existent. It's been Mariota-esque. It's been sad. So
it's pretty crazy that the white quarterback for the Jets doesn't get hit with the can't read the field and can't get past his first read, and it's crazy. It's crazy to me that doesn't happen for him.
So awkward that stuff like that would happen.
Yeah, pretty nuts. Patriots are coming off a massive loss to the Bears, and that's why I kind of brought that up. But they have a quarterback controversy, kind of, except Mac Jones is starting and will be the starter forever because Bailey Zappi was not good against the Bears, despite the fans really getting into the idea of him coming in. I think Mac Jones. I don't know what Bill was doing. I don't think Bill knows what Bill was doing last week.
I feel like Mac shouldn't have played. I think it was like a game time decision. He's playing, and then he didn't look good, and then he threw a pick, which I sent you a TikTok of like from a certain angle, it looks like it might have hit the spider wire. The ball did look like it kind of changed velocity.
It definitely did, but ESPN came out and said that Skycam wire was 15 feet above that, and I don't believe them.
I don't believe them either.
I think they're lying.
For those that don't know, if it does hit that or a camera or anything, you're supposed to replay the down and replay the time and everything. So if that did actually hit and it did, make it an easier pick because the ball did come up short to where the receiver was decently open. So I'm not sure that should have been a pick, but either way, he did not really play well in the first 2.5, 3 drives. And then Zappi took over, and he looked okay to start. and then
And okay, I mean, he was taking the free running back that no one was covering, and then he had one shot play, a leak play, in which he didn't make a good throw. Shout out Jacoby Myers for saving Bailey Zappi and
yeah.
kind of igniting this quarterback controversy before coming back after the game and saying, "Yeah, I don't know what we were doing. Mac should have played." Jacoby Myers was pretty upset about it. Also, Jacoby Myers probably had to run a little bit because of that, because Bill was probably not happy.
hmm
Um,
So if
other
Jacoby doesn't play this week,
Yeah, Tyquan Thornton time. Ramondre Stevenson, though, he was the starter. He took the bulk of snaps, 11 carries, 39 yards, and a touchdown. Also a fumble, I believe, on
yeah.
a botched handoff. And then 8 receptions, 59 yards. But again, the Bears just decided not to cover the running backs for a solid 5 of those. So he got a lot of free yards. I don't think that'll happen in this game, but I guess you never know.
Nope.
And then, like we talked about, the Jets just played it safe, but Breece Hall was a main component of their win, even after or before going out with his injury. James Robinson, I'm not sure if he's playing. He was technically hurt heading into last week.
I would assume he plays. I just don't know if it'll be a full complement. I think he'll just rotate in for this week and give Carter like the shot at being the top guy this week, as a game plan situation as well. And we'll see
Yeah.
how it goes. Both these defensives have been playing pretty much lights out. Albeit past this Monday night against the Bears, but there was also a lot of really good positioning for the Bears, and because of their personal defense. So
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes. I mean, the only way the Jets are scoring is defense or James Robinson, Michael Carter. I mean, they're not
Unfortunately.
throwing.
Yeah,
So
unfortunately. Zach Wilson's throwing 4 picks in this game for what it's worth. And
probably.
yeah, it's going to be bad, which means I'm taking the under. I'm going to take the Patriots to win this game. I think Mac Jones is going to be kind of pissed, honestly.
I'll take the over in the Patriots.
Okay, that's fair. I also feel like if the Patriots offense can get rolling, they pour it on as well.
That's kind of what I'm going. I think they probably score at least 28 this week.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, next game. Las Vegas Raiders, 2-point favorites heading to New Orleans to take on the Saints. The over-under is 49.5. Andy Dalton is starting in this game. It sounds like Jameis Winston. I don't think it's going well for Jameis. I don't know. He just doesn't seem like he's getting right in a time frame that makes sense. It's very
So
reminiscent of
they
Mike
said
Tomlin.
today that he is now being declared healthy. So he's not in the injury report going into this week.
But they're still starting Dalton.
Yeah, because they've been putting up points and winning.
I get it, but
I mean, Dalton played bad, but they still scored 35, 42 points last week.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know.
It was mainly him. That's the bit.
Yeah, I guess, man.
He was the good and the. I mean, he gave up, 2 scores, but he also put in 4. So
yeah. I mean, yeah, he played well last week. That is for sure. But I don't know. It's not. It feels like PJ Walker getting the nod too, which we'll talk about later. Okay. Josh Jacobs last week dominated. 20 carries, 143 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 receptions on 4 targets for just 12 yards. But that didn't matter. Josh Jacobs looks like one of the best running backs in football this year. And he's kind of always looked like a fringe top guy. It's just his usage hasn't always been there. His usage within this specific scheme is fantastic.
yeah, and for what it's worth, I don't think this offensive line is doing a fantastic job pass blocking, but they are doing a really good job run blocking right now. And they've been mixing in extra linemen at tight end and at fullback and stuff. So McDaniels is getting every way to let Jacobs dominate and earn his next contract. And he's been doing it. I mean, it's not, I don't think it's like the Raiders couldn't have thrown all over the Texans last week, but Jacobs just took over and that was it.
Yeah, it's really all they needed to do. And ultimately, their offense was really good. They scored 38 points. Derek Carr threw less than 30 times. Devontae Adams was the recipient of a lot of those, though. 8 receptions, 95 yards. And Foster Moreau obviously Darren Waller was out in that game. 3 receptions, 5 targets, which is good. Do you know if Darren Waller is back this week?
No.
Okay.
I don't think he will be.
If he isn't, then do you have interest in Foster as like a streaming tight end now that some of the good guys have gone down?
No, I don't. Mainly because I think when you have guys like Dolchich and Harrison Bryant on the
That's
way
fair.
on the wire this week, I just don't think it's worth it. But also because this was the first game Renfro's been back in a while, and he only got like 4 or 5 targets. Matt Collins got 4 or 5 targets. Um, so I just don't think they're gonna, use him a lot, and he's used a lot as a blocker. So I just don't think there's a high volume there. And with Waller, they've brought him back, 2 times now with these injuries, and he's been right back on the shelf. So I think they're just full sending the sit and wait because if they, get a win here, get full back on track, going 3-4 into to week 9, we're looking a lot better. So you need Waller for that final stretch for sure to have a chance, especially when you know you're going to have to play the Chargers and the Chiefs again.
Yeah, that's fair. Other side of it, Chris Olave is very, very good. He had 14 targets this last game. You start him every single week. He currently in most scoring is a top 20 wide receiver, despite missing a week, which means that on a points per game basis, he's probably doing quite well.
Yeah.
So I don't have those numbers in front of me, but okay. I'm going to take the Raiders and I'm going to take the over in this game.
Yeah, same. I just think I'm just gonna trust Carr over Dalton here, and that's about it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's fair. All right, next one, Chicago Bears against the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys are 9.5-point favorites in this game. Over under is 43. It doesn't look like Ezekiel Elliott is going to play. Now, there is always a chance. He played through a lot of injuries last year when we thought that he might not play, but he didn't practice today. It doesn't seem like he's trending upward.
Yeah, so the reports are that he has kind of an MCL sprain. So I think it's pretty obvious he sits this week because they do have a bye next week. So that gives him, he hasn't practiced all week. He basically gets 3 weeks off before their week, 10 game at that point. So I do think he sits this week, which means Pollard has the whole offense. However, this Bears defense did just shut down the running game of the Patriots, so take that for what it's worth, I guess.
Yeah, the Bears defense has been playing pretty incredibly over the last few weeks. Justin Fields, obviously their offense kind of came into its own. They scored 33 points on Monday night. Justin Fields was 13 of 21, 179 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Interception was a tip ball at the line of scrimmage. But he also carried the ball 14 times for 82 yards and a touchdown. And they actually admitted that they were stealing plays from the Ravens. Justin Fields did. He said, we some of those plays that we stole from the Ravens. And one of the beat reporters came back and said, stole from the Ravens. And he said, yep. We stole it from the Ravens. And we think that it's a good thing. And it was a good thing that it kind of unlocked the Bears offense. Both running backs had massive fantasy days as well. David Montgomery, 62 yards, a touchdown. Khalil Herbert, 62 yards as well. And he caught a touchdown, I believe. Yeah, on the field screen. So I don't know if this sticks. I'm slightly nervous because Micah Parsons is a different animal, but I would argue that Matthew Judon has been playing just as well as Parsons this year. And so I think maybe if this could be a little bit of a shootout in this game, I think.
I won't go there, mainly because we have to see more from this Bears offense, obviously. But,
sure.
The next point here, Dak, they win in their return, but it was a really slow start. It seemed like they kept the same game plan as when they had Cooper Rush at quarterback, which I think is a very good decision, actually, by McCarthy to
Right.
just keep it simple. Give Dak a couple games to get back under it before you unleash this. And because, there is rust to be knocked off after this injury. But it was a heavy emphasis on the run again, and we'll see if that continues. Obviously, with Zeke most likely not playing, Pollard gets like 25 carries. I'm not sure that's the best thing for Pollard, but people have been wanting it, so we'll fucking see.
Yeah.
Because he's better than Zeke, but he probably won't be.
Yeah. Noah Brown seems like the wide receiver 2 in the offense now. I think they're still kind of easing Gallup back for what it's worth, but
I think so too.
But Brown has been good too.
Yeah. And I think a higher emphasis on the passing attack, or at least more of a balanced attack in the future weeks may make this a little bit more simple, and Gallup is a bit more of a weapon, but we'll see.
Yeah. My lock this week, start Justin Fields. He's been a QB1 top 12 quarterback in the last 3 weeks. He's at the quarterback 4 over that span. And on a points per game basis with all the buys factored in, he's the QB9. So
yeah, I'm riding with Fields. He was my only Scott Fish Bowl quarterback for 6 weeks. I won't give up now.
I was just going to say, him coming around these last 3 weeks has legitimately saved about half of my fantasy seasons. Like, it's insane.
He's going to keep Deshaun Watson on the bench in that league.
Heck yeah.
And I won't be mad at it.
Yep, that is true. I'm going to take the Bears to cover. I'm going to take the over in this game.
I'm going to take the Bears to cover, Cowboys over. Barely, though. I don't think this is a shootout, but I think both teams can clearly score 20 points. So
yeah,
that's basically right at the line.
Yeah. All right, next one, Arizona Cardinals against the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are 4-point home favorites, and the over-under is 49. No major injuries to report. The Vikings are coming off their bye. The Cardinals are coming off that game against the Saints last week where they won 42-34. Offense looked a lot better with DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah. It was a Thursday game, so everyone gets a little bit more rest. So we'll see with like James Conner coming back.
Right, that too, and I think that's where the Cardinals need all of those things to be in line. DeAndre Hopkins had a nice return, 10 receptions, 103 yards. He did fumble the ball. Rondale Moore was on the field for like 99% of the time, but only saw 2 targets. I think that might change a little bit as they continue to develop this offense. They didn't get Robbie Anderson involved. It is what it is. I think that the offense was humming pretty good, so they wanted to force feed Hopkins like you suggested right before that.
Yeah. So for what that's worth, not the Hopkins, because I think that was almost obvious once the Hollywood injury came out. It was pretty obvious. But for Rondale, he did play every snap. He got 2 targets, but he also played on the outside the whole time. I think what we're going to be looking at here until Hollywood's back is we're going to get another week or so of what we just got. And then Robbie Anderson, hopefully maybe starting this week, can actually play on the outside for them and let Rondale do what he does best and catch the ball at the line of scrimmage and basically be Saquon out there. And we'll see what happens there. That's where he's going to be best used. He's not going to be an outside receiver. It's just not what he is. So they had to use him there. And it's just going to completely shut down his usage because Kyler doesn't trust him on the outside because he's never worked with him there. That's not where he's supposed to be. So until Robbie Anderson does take over that outside role, he's going to continue to not be startable.
Yeah. Rondale also has pretty bad hands on, balls that are thrown to the outside. He dropped one in this game. Should have been a touchdown. So, that's always been the one knock with Rondale is like his hands are fine until they're not. Did you see that video of JJ Watt kind of like hyping him up after he dropped a ball in practice and he was beating himself up? I think, he's clearly.
In Rondale's defense, he's always caught the ball pretty close to the line of scrimmage, even at Purdue. I don't know why I said even weird there. Just moving on, I guess. So, he had some bigger plays, obviously, but he was always more of a slant. And easy, quick outs or ins or gadget plays, and it's just what he does best. So at a certain point, I think he is trying to catch the ball and move quickly and get his head upfield. So these deep routes is just not going to be his strength.
Yeah, for sure. Then the Vikings coming out to bye, we know what they are. They're the NFC North leaders right now, and that's why I'm going to take them, and I am going to easily take the over in this game. I think both offenses will play well.
So the final question for this game: can Jay Jettis follow up what Olave just did in breaking the trend of going against the Cardinals, going against the wide receiver one of a team? Again, it did take Olave 14 passing attempts and only catching half of them to really be effective and not get a touchdown still. But is it going to be the Byron Murphy show and a little bit of what we saw against the Lions or close to it?
No.
Because Jay Jettis probably gets 12 to 14 targets. So
more. I would take the over on. I mean, that's a lot of targets, but also I think this will be a high scoring game, and I think they're going to throw the ball a lot. So I'll take 16 targets for Jefferson and 9 of them in the first half. He's going to have another
Ja'Marr Chase.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm going to take the Vikings. I'll take the over simply because they're coming off the bye. Yeah. I think I would go under otherwise, but
okay. Sounds good. Next one, Miami Dolphins, 3-point favorites heading to Detroit to face off against the Lions. The over-under is 51.5. Amon-Ra St. Brown had a head injury, but he wasn't concussed, and so it sounds like he'll be playing this week. There's this whole spotter thing. It was a very flawed. They did not think this through very well. So I'm sure it will be a topic of discussion. Dolphins beat the Steelers. Tua looked like crap, to be completely honest. He had 4 dropped interceptions and 21 of 35, 261 and 1, but with 4 dropped interceptions, legitimately. Raheem Mostert played well, 16 carries, 79 yards, 4 catches, 30, and a touchdown. Both Hill and Waddle are playing well. That is what this offense is. We know on a weekly basis that's what this offense is going to be. I am curious to see which one gets the most Okudah, because Okudah has been good for the Lions. That is it. That is all they have on that defense outside of Hutchinson. So
I think at that point, Okudah's probably just sticking to his side because there is 2 receivers.
Yeah.
But for what it's worth, like obviously Hill dominated the targets this week. I believe Waddle had 5 targets, got 4 of them. We've had, I think this is the third week this has happened where Hill's tripled almost, or whatever it was against Waddle. And the next week, Waddle usually gets close or even more, I think, one of the times. So I do kind of expect that, but Hill's just been getting peppered with targets, rightfully so. So we'll see how it goes, especially if Okudah's trying to stick with him with the safety over top, obviously. Waddle should have a big day.
Yeah. Other side of the ball, Jared Goff, 21 of 26, 228 yards, but at least 500 fumbles. Was terrible in the game. Jamal Williams, 15 carries, 79 yards. And with Amon-Ra going down, Khalif Raymond was the top target, 5 catches, 75 yards. I don't have much to say about this game. I think the Dolphins are going to win comfortably. The Lions have fizzled out pretty entirely. To the point that now if DeAndre Swift plays, maybe I feel differently.
That's the thing. I think they need Amon-Ra and Swift to be.
Hawkinson didn't practice today either, so
they don't need Hawkinson. That's fine. Hawkinson can only do well when no one else is alive. Then he can play.
That's true. I'm going to take the Dolphins, and I'm going to take the over in this game, even though it's pretty high.
I'm going to take the Dolphins and the under.
Okay. Sounds good. Next one, Carolina Panthers against the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons are 4.5-point favorites. Over-under is 42. AJ Terrell hurt his hamstring. Chuba Hubbard hurt his ankle, and he probably won't be playing this weekend. Terrell also not ruled out yet. Doubtful to play.
Yeah. He's not ruled out, but
yeah,
it's not like a big thing anyways.
Yeah. Not really. PJ Walker was great. That 16 of 22, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns, was PFF's top graded quarterback for doing that, which I found
Okay.
hilarious. Yeah, by a wide margin too. He was in the 90s. I think one other person was in the 90s, and that was it. Maybe Mahomes was in the 90s or something like that, and then that was it. It was just those two atop the leaderboard. Deontay Foreman, 15 carries, 118 yards, 2 catches for 27 yards. He's the back. He's the back. We kind of.
Yeah. So for what it's worth, it did seem kind of early. Chuba was getting the nod. He was named the starter,
Yeah.
but that changed quickly, and Foreman made big plays. Hey, listen, man, I picked him up a lot of places. I put him in the trade block immediately. I tried to package him with the running back to upgrade a different position. No one was having it. I ain't packaging shit. Now
Yeah.
he did it against the Bucks. You need to come correct now with an offer because you fucked up.
Yeah.
It's a new role for him, but we've seen him play well given the lead dog role last year. So
Yeah.
to expect him not to at least have a lion's share against Chuba in this kind of offense is just silly.
Yeah. Other side of the ball, everyone's calling for Arthur Smith to be fired, despite them being second in the NFC South, and pretty good football team. I know they're not using Kyle Pitts, and the fantasy community wants to burn everyone.
They did not use Drake London either last week. So
No, they ultimately they're not throwing the ball, and so it's very reminiscent of the Titans offense when Arthur Smith was there, and it was. I mean, AJ Brown got a lot of targets. Corey Davis did
yeah,
that last year, but before that, I mean, it was very much so a run-heavy offense. And Mariota isn't Tannehill. I would argue that we need to see Ritter here soon, but I don't think we're going to because the Falcons are still winning games, and I think they're going to win this game. Um, I think they're also going to cover. I think that Panthers game, they're believing, but I just don't think they're as talented as the Falcons are.
I don't want to pick the Falcons. That's the bad thing.
No, I don't want to pick any of them.
I'm going to pick the Panthers.
That's fair.
Because if they can stop the run like they did last week against the Bucks, what the hell are the Falcons going to do? Because they're not going to throw more than 13 times a game. So
Yeah, they'll put in Ritter, maybe, hopefully.
No, they won't.
I know.
Legitimately, Mariota 8 for 13 for 124 and a touchdown with one catch on a broken play for 75 yards to Bird. So without that broken play, he's 7 for 12 for 49.
It's really bad.
As a starting quarterback.
He's been bad. I mean, to put it, I mean, he's been bad.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think it's time for Ritter. Especially, if they drop this game, I think we might see that change. So maybe I'm rooting for the Panthers, but picking the Falcons.
Root for the Panthers then. Let's go.
And the under in this game easily.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like 17-13, probably. Okay, next one. Pittsburgh Steelers against the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles are 10.5-point favorite. The over/under is 43. No major injuries. We did talk about Robert Quinn's arrival in Philadelphia. I wouldn't be shocked if they also trade for a running back. There are a lot on the market. Kareem Hunt has been put on the block. I think he fits that offense pretty well, but they've liked what Miles Sanders is. The Steelers defense is doing a good job because Kenny Pickett is not it at all. They obviously lost the game. If they don't drop 4 picks, they win the game. Kenny Pickett, 32 of 4. That's true. Kenny Pickett, 32 of 44, 257, a touchdown and 3 picks, and 2 of the most atrocious picks I've ever seen.
The one, guaranteed.
Yeah, the one rolling out in the final play, the final interception he threw, where he's rolling out to his left and he's like trying to make a play. He threw it right to it. I think he forgot which team he was on. Like, I don't know what he was doing and how there was a miscommunication about that. It's just atrocious. He's not a good quarterback. Najee Harris, 17 carries, 65 yards. Pat Freiermuth, 8 catches, 75. George Pickens, 6 catches, 61, and a touchdown. And Deontay Johnson, 5 catches for 42 yards. All of them fairly productive. I mean, despite Pickett not being it, he is producing other fantasy performers, which is good. Good news. And then the Eagles coming off a bye. I mean, they're going to win this game by 3 touchdowns, I think.
Most likely.
So
I'm going to go with the over.
Yeah, me too. And obviously, you're picking the Eagles too.
Yeah. Yes.
Sick. Do you have anything else on this game?
No, necessarily. I mean, I would start the Eagles defense. I
Oh
think they
yeah,
get at least 2 turnovers and at least 2 sacks.
yeah. Oh yeah, probably 4 sacks, especially now that they have a new toy. Okay, into the afternoon slate. I'm losing my voice, guys, in the middle of this podcast, so we're gonna struggle through this, and I apologize. I don't know what's happening. Afternoon slate: Tennessee Titans 2-point favorites versus the Houston Texans. Over under is 40.5. Nico Collins got hurt.
Let's just start with the under. We're going under.
Under and Titans is where I'm going. I don't have to say too much about it, but the Titans are.
You get to the next point, and I'm going to go under in Texans.
So Ryan Tannehill in a walking boot, ankle injury. He finished the game though. I think he's gonna play. I haven't seen anything that
I saw a
suggested he won't.
quote mainly from him talking about almost like it would need a lot to play this week.
Okay, so Malik Willis show.
Which
So
means
turnovers, lots of turnovers.
yeah.
Yeah, Malik Willis, aka Michael Vick 2.0. Um, that was the thing. Titans did dominate the game last week. Derrick Henry was himself. 30 carries, 128 yards, 3 catches for 10 yards. I believe he dropped a pass in true Derrick Henry form. Texans played a really good game for most of the game, and then what's up?
Your voice is struggling.
I know
buddy.
it's getting bad, man. We just got to get through it though. Josh Jacobs kind of took over towards the end of the game, and that was that. Davis Mills played better though, 28 to 41, 302 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. And Dameon Pierce is still a star. I'm just gonna say it. I mean, I think Malik Willis's introduction actually helps Derrick Henry, which is why I would still pick the Titans pretty comfortably.
That's fine. I'll take the Texans though.
Okay.
Mainly because Mills in the passing game looked a bit better this last week.
Great. Anything else on that game?
No.
Yeah. Brandon Cooks is on the trade block.
Start
Texans
the running backs. That's all. Don't touch anything else.
Yeah, that's fair. Next one, San Francisco 49ers, 1.5-point favorites against the Rams. Over under in this game is 43.5. The 49ers got like doubled up pretty much last week. It was a pretty rough game.
I want to say it was 45 to 33 was the score or something like that.
Oh, I think they did get a late touchdown. Last I looked, it was like 45-24 or something like that. So it was close to a double up. But Jimmy G 25 to 37, 303 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Does not really fully describe what that game was for Jimmy G. He wasn't very good for a lot of the game. Christian McCaffrey in his debut, 8 carries, 38 yards, 2 receptions, 24 yards. He's going to be fully unleashed, I think, this week. And the Rams defense hasn't really been formidable. So I kind of think that we're going to see McCaffrey RB1 week pretty comfortably. George Kittle has come alive and he stayed alive. Brandon Ayuk came alive and he has stayed alive. 7 catches for him, 82 yards. Kittle got 6 for 98 and a touchdown. And Debo's not dead, but I do feel like the Ayuk takeover is kind of in the midst. It's happened now. It's kind of a 3-week trend where Ayuk has been the favorite target of Jimmy G. So
Yep.
I don't know. Other side of the ball, really quickly. Rams are coming off the bye. Everyone sucks. Darrell Henderson is the starting running back, but he's not very good. Cam Akers is like they're considering bringing him back and him not being traded now. I don't know what's happening there. And then Allen Robinson's been bad, and we'll see if he's still bad.
So, and then there's talks of like Kyron Williams taking over this backfield. So my lock stat of the week is the Rams running back, whoever the fuck it is, because we don't know who it is, one. And I think it's probably just going to be all 3.
Malcolm Brown.
All 4. I think there's – so I think what happened was they were trying to get CMC, and they were sending Akers and picks, and they took the 49ers deal instead. So I think that was a bit of, okay, so we might have to keep Akers because if he's not getting us, a 4th, he's better
Right.
on our team. Let's reconcile whatever this thing is that kind of came up last minute. Which is weird because he was kind of 2 weeks of given the lead back role, and
It was a
then
showcase. They don't like
yeah,
him. I don't think they think he's good. I
I'm
think
so
that's the problem.
confused by what happened, but we'll see. I'm just sitting everyone because someone could emerge, and it could be Kyron. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
With how much people wrote him completely off after the combine, but I just don't
Almost
like
rightfully
it.
so.
This offense has been just atrocious. Besides Cup and Higby, not Stafford. He's been terrible as well. So it's literally just them two. So
It's,
that's all I'm willing to play.
yeah, it's been rough. But I will say, bye week, maybe they got it right. I'm going to take the Rams in this game. I'm going to take the under, though.
I'm going to take the 49ers in the under.
So,
I think the 49ers get the sweep this year.
cool. Sounds good. One, Commanders and Indianapolis Colts. Colts are my favorite. So, the news is that Matt Ryan is on that. Schumacher is now the starter for the Colts. And so we're going to see a different type of Colt offense, I think. They really were worried about the sacks and fumbles and things like that. So that is now done. Other side, Commanders beat the Packers. Taylor Heineke was really bad for a half and then really fine for the second half. 20-33, 200 runs, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. I still want Sam Howell in there. Brian Robinson, 20 carries, 73 yards. He's not efficient or good. 2 receptions, 13 yards. New Gibson, and 59 yards. Very efficient. 3 catches, 18 yards, and a touchdown. Also good. So we'll see if that ever switches. I don't have a whole lot on this game. Where are you going with this one? What do you want to talk about?
I'll go Commanders and under. Just because I don't know what to expect from the Colts offense going into the week. And the Commanders' rush defense looked really good last week, so I'm not really encouraged by that for Jonathan Taylor this year, or not this year, but this game. So, but the passing work was incredible for Taylor. He just didn't get a yardage from it. So we'll see how it goes. But I mean, we both watched Ellinger. I'm not excited.
No.
I think apparently Matt Ryan's hurt as well, so he's not coming into the game regardless. But of the 3 quarterbacks that could come into this game, of Heineke, Howell, and Ellinger would be third on my list of who I want to see. So I'm going to take the Commanders and the under.
Yeah, I guess we could see Foles, so that might make a difference, right?
They will win.
Paris Campbell has had 2 straight weeks of massive performances. This week, 10 catches on 12 targets, 70 yards, and a touchdown. But new quarterback now, so kind of throw everything out.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's going to be, and I would not be comfortable starting him or Alec Pierce this week.
Yeah,
Pittman, I'm good with.
I think you have to play JT, and I think you're comfortable playing Pittman. That's it.
For sure. I'm going to take the Commanders and I'll go over. I'll go over in this game. Barely. 21-20, 41 points, baby. Last game on the afternoon slate, the New York Giants against the Seattle Seahawks. Low key, one of the best games this week. Seahawks are 3-point favorites, and the over/under is 44.5. We talked about the Daniel Bellinger injury. He will probably be out the year. Evan Neal has an MCL injury. Ben Bredesen, he hurt his knee. DK Metcalf, patellar injury, but not super serious. He may actually play this week, I think, though I think they'll probably hold him out a week at least. Giants are winning football games. It's I don't know exactly how. Even when I watched a full Giants game, I'm not sure how they get to the end where they have more points than the other team. However, they have done that.
It's a weird trick that they're doing. I don't understand it.
It's like I don't know. They do have some type of magic happening, but scored 23 points last week. Their defense is playing really well. I will give them that. I think their edge rushing duo is fun in Ojulari and Kayvon. I'm excited for that for the next few years. But
So I kind of realized something last week. This Giants team kind of reminds me of the Tebow time Broncos, where you're very confused how they've won 5 games, but they've done it. So you have to say, like, hey, they're doing it.
They're 6-1.
The quarterback's not really killing it. He actually looks really bad, but the running back looks good. And these receivers are, I mean, obviously Tebow had a better receiving core, mainly with Demaryius Thomas, but still, it's just weird how it's working. Daniel Jones is running a lot. 11 attempts, 170 yards, and a touchdown this week. Saquon's obviously moving the ball. Wandale's seems to be the top guy now. We'll see if Kadarius Toney suits up within the next decade, and maybe he could do something. I'm just really weirded out by this. I think I want to take the Giants and the over, which makes no sense, but I think you have to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to take the Seahawks and the over.
Well, of course you have to, because otherwise they're never getting to 9 wins, which I still don't understand.
Eight.
I said 9.
No, we went back and looked. I promise.
I looked. You said 9.
No, now you've increased it each time. First you said 7.
You said 20. I don't know how you got there, but you said 20.
It's on record. They're winning the Super Bowl. And I knew it was going to be Geno. That this was in no way.
Yes, it was all. It's just the Seahawks offense is just really weird as well, where it's literally like they've plopped Geno and he's just Russell Wilson from 2 years ago. I don't understand what's going on because he's not that good. And he's really not playing that well, but he's playing really safe.
He's had some hole shot throws the last few weeks where I'm like,
he's put some
man.
He's done some where I'm not gonna, but Russell Wilson 2 years ago was a different caliber, obviously. Yeah. So we're just not getting that. For some reason, Lockett is 7 catches, 45 yards. It's just not what we were getting to start the year. Goodwin steps up with a DK injury, 4 for 67 and 2. But Kenneth Walker's carrying this team. They literally replaced Wilson with the worst version with Geno Smith, and then they replaced Carson with Penny, which was about the same, and then replaced Penny with Walker, which was about the same.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's happening here.
Yeah.
And the defense is still bad, but it's doing some stuff some weeks. I don't get what's going on with Seattle. They should not win games, but they have been. But Walker, 23 carries, 168 yards, 2 touchdowns. Amazing.
Yes. The premier matchups to watch will be the 2 edge rushers for the Giants versus the 2 rookie tackles that have played out of their freaking minds this year. What Charles Cross did last week was against freaking Khalil Mack is his name, the really good player that I forgot for a second. But what he did last week was just absolutely ridiculous for a rookie tackle. He looks amazing, which is why I'll take the Seahawks and the over, like I said.
Also, hate that the first time in like a decade that they invest 2 picks in the offensive line, also after Russell Wilson leaves, they're both going to work out because they both Cross and Abraham Lucas both look good. And it's just we like both of them, but
two favorites of ours. Cross was my favorite and ended up my 2. I'm pissed about it too. He should have been my 1.
My favorite's out for 3 or 4 weeks that we already talked about for this game. So here we are.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Sunday night football game. Green Bay Packers against the Buffalo Bills. This, on paper, before the season, looked like a great Sunday night football game. And now it does not. The Packers are spiraling. The Bills are 11-point favorites. The over-under is 47.5. Alan Lazard was in a sling, which is bad news. Aaron Rodgers is out here on the freaking McAfee show, on the Pat McAfee show, talking about freaking how some of these guys are making mistakes and they need to come off the field and maybe the other guys should get a chance. Like, there's a reason Samori Toure was in the game at the very end of last week. Aaron Rodgers was not happy with, I believe, the rookie wide receivers, specifically Romeo Dobbs.
Yeah, because Watson didn't play, so not on him this time.
Yep. So, and Rodgers, for what it's worth, has not. Him and Brady have this weird thing where if they're not doing God things every week, everyone thinks that they're in a demise. Aaron Rodgers is more in a demise, I think, than Brady, but I think that is so much of his situation. He entered the fourth quarter with fewer than 100 passing yards. Fewer than 100 passing yards. He ended up with 194 on 35 attempts and 2 touchdowns, but I don't know, man. I don't know what this Packers offense is, and there is absolutely no shot they win this game, right? Like,
No.
like I wouldn't even. I would say
Josh
that's
Allen would
my.
have to get hurt on the first drive. That's the
Even
level.
then, Case Keenum, baby.
That's the level it would have to be. Like that's.
Yeah, I get that. My lock sit this week is AJ Dillon. Yeah, definitely. Lock sit AJ Dillon. He's been terrible. I don't actually want to talk about it because I've started him almost every week in multiple leagues because I was like, oh, he's getting the work and he's getting the opportunities, but he's just not doing anything with it. This Packers offense is not good. Aaron Jones is the only person I am comfortable with, including Aaron Rodgers, and he has been up and down.
He's played bad. I mean, 8 for 23 on the ground, 9 of 10 through the air, 53 yards, 2 touchdowns, but they're all basically 4-3 dump downs. They weren't. It's not like he's schemed these plays. The one in the red zone,
that was sick.
That one was schemed, obviously.
He looked like Devontae Adams.
Yeah, for the most part, though, it's just been like, oh, well, you go.
It's so bad. The offensive line has played poorly for the Packers. I
keep shifting it around, and
it's bad. It's all bad. Buffalo by 30 and over.
Yeah, Buffalo might get the over.
Yeah,
that's not even.
That's like not actually
that big of a joke. They could easily score 40 points. The Packers defense kept them in this last game against a bad offense. They will not be able to keep up.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, Monday Night Football, Cincinnati Bengals, 3-point favorites heading to Cleveland to face off against their in-state rival, Cleveland Browns. Over-under is 46.5. David Njoku is out for a few weeks with a high ankle sprain. Pharaoh Brown has a concussion. The Browns' tight end room is very light. Randy, why don't you just lead us off?
My star of the week is Harrison Bryant because he was involved the last 2 weeks in this offense, and then he's going to be the only one. He's literally like the only tight end left, and he's a really good tight end as well, especially in this offense where he's going to do dual threat blocking and receiving. So I think he's a really good play this week. I think he gets probably at least 6 catches, which is huge from a tight end room with the chance of touchdown upside, obviously. The Browns are going to have to throw in this game. They should run the ball, but they clearly won't. So they're going to throw. And the tight end position has become an integral part in moving the ball and moving the chains here, with Cooper being asked to make more big plays as well as DPJ and the running backs and the tight end position kind of moving the chains as it goes. So because of that, Harrison's going to be really good. And it should be Chubb. He should have an amazing game. He's going to get 15 touches for some fucking stupid reason because you have to break every trend, even the trend of breaking the trend and breaking that trend. Stefanski is a very good coach and a very bad coach at the same time because he overthinks, and it sucks.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I don't feel anything. I'm happy to see Donovan Peoples-Jones. He was my need more info last week, and he kind of proved it. 6 catches, 71 yards. He's been really good for them. I think the receiving core in general, including Njoku,
overperforming
by a lot and really kind of bailing Brissett out quite a bit.
And that's with Bell still getting acclimated to the NFL game. So they're not even like full go.
Yeah, for sure. Other side of things, Joe Burrow was as elite as any quarterback has been this year. Last week, I don't think that's a hot take. 34 of 42. Yeah. Justin Fields actually may have been better last week. For no. 481 yards through the air, 3 touchdowns. He was on pace for 800 yards after the first quarter. Jamar Chase, 8 catches, 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. Tyler Boyd, 8 catches, 155 yards and a touchdown. Tyler Boyd is a top 20 receiver right now, which is nuts. T. Higgins, 5 catches, 93 yards, mostly in the second half. Joe Mixon got going, 17 carries, 58 yards, a touchdown, 3 receptions, 33 yards. I expect a lot of the same. I expect Joe Mixon to have 400 yards rushing this week. Though the Browns did.
But see, that's the problem. They've struggled on offense this year when they've been a balanced attack and more focused on the run. And that's what this matchup dictates for them. However, they just lit up the scoreboard by just saying, fuck that. You're going to get a carry a couple times a drive. We're throwing this bitch. And they put up points quick in a very big hurry. The difference is they're playing the Browns, not the Falcons. The Browns will actually throw the ball so they can keep up a bit. That's the only difference. But it's weird because I think even with the same game plan, what is this? 11. Mixon had about 17, 18 points. I think he easily gets that again this week.
Yeah, he's getting in the end zone again as well, I would imagine. Okay, that'll do it. Wait, no, we didn't pick this game. I'm taking the Bengals pretty easily, and I'll take the over. I think both offenses are
I'll
good.
take the Bengals and the over too. The Browns, I won't. The Browns will probably stay at 3 points behind and, lose in the last second.
Yeah.
Like always.
That sounds about right. Also, shout out the Texans. They're en route for a top 5 pick from the Browns this year, currently. I don't know that when Watson comes back, if that's the case, but I think it might land top 10 with how they've performed here in the first few weeks. So
we'll see.
Crazy. Pretty crazy with the expectations on that Cleveland team there. That'll do it for this show. I guess we should say, I think we're just going to move to Wednesdays. We've moved a lot of, Randy had the Raiders play 2 weeks ago. I had the Bears and Justin Fields specifically playing, and I really wanted to see that. And I'm glad we were able to watch the game so that we could kind of give more insight when we talk about the games this week. It's sometimes tough to do that when we miss the whole game. So we're going to move to Wednesdays. If you guys ever have waiver questions or anything like that, DM us, please, at C. Williams NFL on Twitter, at R. Hall NFL on Twitter, at the Cut FFB too. But I can tell you I'm not checking those DMs as much. So DM one of us personally. But if you ever have waiver questions, feel free to let us know. We obviously have kind of moved away from that on this show. With us being on Wednesdays, it doesn't make sense for us to give you waiver recommendations when waivers have already run. So, other than that, we will see you next Wednesday for sure with a Week 9 preview and a little bit of a Week 8 recap. Good luck in your matchups this week. Randy, do you have anything to add?
No. Let's have a better week of injuries, I guess. That's what we'll go with.
That is the key this week. All right. Well, that'll do it for this episode of The Cut. If you're listening on the podcast forum, feel free to leave us a review. If you're watching us on YouTube, drop a little like, hit us with a subscribe, all the good things. Thank you guys. We'll talk to you guys later. For Randy Hall, I'm Christian Williams. We'll talk to you then. Later.